Now, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Little Zergling, and do you think it's a bit odd that I call myself the Little Zergling and have yet to make a Starcraft video? Well, today I've got a replay for you. Now, just so you know, I am a horrible Starcraft player, and a friend of mine is going to get Starcraft, Mr. Braggy FX. So, I'll probably will get back into things, and the highest I've ever ranked is Silver, and I thought, I'll play a placement match, try and get back into Silver. And I will tell you what I placed after this game. But basically, this game, I'll just show you, okay? So early on, I may as well tell you my strategy. I just build a ton of drones, and then I stop at 8 and build one Overlord, and then I keep building drones from there. Now, I don't know where he is. I don't know any of the maps or anything. I don't know if there's a particular place where they spawn. Like, apparently some people spawn crossroads or something. I don't know. But, so I start building Overlords and send them out this way, because I think he might be over there. But then, once I get to 10 supply, I think I send out one drone to scout. Yeah, there he goes, that one little drone there. Anyway, I do say GLHF. I like to say that every game. I'm sometimes a bit late on it, though. Like, I watched a replay of mine earlier where I said it at, like, 20 minutes in, just ridiculous. Anyway, so early on in this game, when I scout him, I figure out that he's not exactly a good player, and you can see that from here, this SCV, like, and that SCV was standing there like that for a while, I think. No, wrong one. Okay. So I come on into his base, and as I do, he throws down the supply depot, and see how he has two of these guys working at once? There's no need to do that. The only reason to do that would be to stop scouting, and, scout, I think, will come anyway. I come in trying to attack his SCV, but I fail and can't target him properly. I can't even reach him. But I think I do end up killing, like, 2 of them with my drone, which is awesome. Anyway, just so you guys know, I love Terran music. Terran music is awesome. But I'm a Zerg player to the core. Anyway, so I follow this SCV back to his base, and I keep on attacking him, and I forget where I'm looking at the moment. Where am I? Yeah, I'm still chasing this guy, and this is the point where I figure out he's a new player, because that SCV that's chasing me right there, as you can see, it didn't come out and aim for the minerals, it like stood still for a bit. So the first thing I thought was, new player, except I'm not exactly doing so well either. I built 3 drones, forgot to rally them. I think after that point I pressed G and, set the worker rally point there. So, me thinking he's a new player, kind of stupid since I just did the same thing as he did. But see that one SCV just stand there and then eventually gets to work? Anyway, this one SCV does live, and that's because he has a Marine out on the field. I try to get my drone to live, but sadly he does not. Anyway, back up at my base, I fell a little bit behind because I was trying to micro that drone. But, yeah, that kind of happens. But as you can see, he's a bit more behind than I am, trying to micro his stuff away from my drone. Anyway, I do build the queen, and I do get into a heavy sort of macro phase at this point. And at this point, because he's a new player, I wanted to do something to him that I've never done before. And, you will see it in a second. And he doesn't know where I am at the moment. He's scouted up there first, then down at the bottom left, but he hasn't scouted up top, so he's gonna guess them up there. But he will be met with a welcoming committee. But while that scout is doing that, my little drone here is going to do something. Build a base in his expansion. And this is something I said I've wanted to do for a while, and my god, let me just say in advance, this was a lot of fun, this strategy. It was really action-packed for the majority of the game. I had fun doing it. Anyway, I do build an Evo chamber, maybe get some upgrades, make sure I stay ahead and all that. Anyway, so this SCV finds out where I am, but he's met with the welcoming committee of Zerglings. These Zerglings end up chasing him across the entire map and only get him once the metabolic boost is finished. And, no, may as well teach new players. Metabolic boost increases the speed of Zerglings, so they become Speedlings! Yes, they move at a pretty ridiculous rate. Anyway, so he's got these Marines building, but sadly he is supply blocked. Don't worry, I get supply blocked too. I'm not the best player. Like, here's the thing, I can see what I'm doing wrong, and I try to improve every game, and I do improve every game, bit by bit. It's just I don't play enough. And that's because StarCraft for me is a very stressful game. I think X put it best. It's not a game you play, it's a game you practice. But I am looking to practice it a lot more, like now that a friend is getting back into it, and a bunch of my other friends will be playing it as well. You know, it'd be fun to play with all of them again. Anyway, so this base is now finished, and he does not yet realize it until he actually sees the creep. Yeah. He's got to expect what's coming. So I do get supply block, which is bad, because I do need to get the queen up fast, and I do need to get drones up fast so I can start building some spine crawlers and break into this base of his. Anyway, back at my base, I am building overlords. Built 3 of them, because don't want to have to worry about too much. I do have +1 on the way. There was a delay gap before I started working on the armor, but that's just something I got to work on. But I do keep on building Zerglings, because by the looks of things, this base here is full in terms of drone count. It is like so saturated. I'd even say maybe oversaturated a bit, but that's okay. Like, it's full. That's all that matters. I don't know the exact drone count. I think it's like 24 on the minerals, 3 on the gas. I know it's 3 on the gas. That part's obvious. Anyway, so I'm making sure I keep up with the you know, lava count here. It's like, hang on, wait for it. She'll do it. Just give it a second. Give it a second. She's gonna spew lava. Wait for it. Come on, Mrs. Queen. Okay, whatever. Maybe she won't do it. Okay, maybe I do need to work on my macro a bit. Like I said, I'm a very bad player. This is just a game I wanted to upload to say I will make Starcraft videos. I will get better. And, I am expanding in this guy's base. And at this point, he's got to realize what's up. I mean, there is creep outside his base. Like, my god, that creep is creepy. Now that I look at it for a bit. Anyway, yeah, he's got to know what's up, and he's building Hellions, which is pretty good. He's got to expect Zerglings. Hellions and Marines, good counter to Zerglings, I think. And now he's going to drop down the supply depot, and he's going to have a little peek out to see what's happening. And sadly, though, he does catch my spine crawler. He does back off, and gets away. But my Zerglings do deal quite a bit of damage to him, and end up having a little nibble. But they do have to back off once the Marauder comes out. But as you can see, that was pretty good on my part. I was able to take out a pretty significant chunk of his army, but it was a good idea for him to back off, get inside of his base, and wall it up again. Anyway, so I move up my spine crawler a bit so we can actually start poking away at his base. As for this creep tumor, I think I try to expand it over here. Bad idea, really. Anyway, back up at base. I am building more and more Zerglings, just trying to get as many of them out as I can. At this base, I'm trying to drone up it, basically, but I try just drone up, make sure I got a nice bit of income, which is kind of pointless. I should really build like a macro hatchery or something along that line. That would really help me. Anyway, one of his supply depots has gone down, and sadly though, he cannot rebuild it because of the creep. Anyway, some of my Zerglings charge it in there. I didn't tell him to do that, that was just a natural thing. But I quickly follow up on it by sending my full Zergling force in there, and I think he may have upgrades. I don't know, does he? Where do I check that? +1? Okay. Next Marine that comes out, I'll have a look and see if it has upgrades. Anyway, so I do tear down this front wall, and he cannot rebuild it because of the creeper unless he decides to build a wall. A massive wall along here. I do back off and wait for reinforcements, which will be on the way, as you're about to see. Wait for it. Come on, these will all become Zerglings in a second. I know they will. And there you go. So that's about, let's see, 22 Zerglings on the way. Anyway, so I send this queen down here to pop out a creep tumor. I want to try and expand the creep into his base. His Marines do have +1. I thought they had, like, armor. Anyway, he does pick them up, looking like he is ready for a drop. But sadly, though, his drop will have to be delayed as I charge into his base, quickly taking down the Hellions as they are the biggest threat to my army. I then move in on the Marines. Oh, no, wait, my bad. I move on to the mineral line. Some of my zone gets stuck, but then I quickly realize that I have to go for the Marines since they are a big threat. But the medevacs are keeping them alive and doing a great job at it. I do nibble away and eventually finish off the Marines, but they do deal quite a bit of damage to my Zergling force, and then my Zerglings rip into the SCVs, but the SCVs are able to hold them back, but still my Zerglings are able to get off quite a bit of damage onto the worker line. And he quickly wants to follow it up, maybe think that he has a chance with his SCVs, but I'm quick to react as the 22 Zerglings arrive in great force and do take down the SCV threat. Sadly though, they do deal damage to the majority of the SCVs, but he does have Marines on the way because of those reactor cores, and does take out my Zerglings. Actually, does he? Ooh, this may be close, and he does. Now then, he thinks that he may want to follow up on this, except he's forgetting one thing. I have a spine crawler. It is a good idea of him to bring out all these marines. He will possibly be able to get it. But, Zerglings! He does take down the spine crawler, but at this point, I'm going to back off with my Zerglings. Wait for the reinforcements, which have arrived. We move into the base. Up top, I will build more Zerglings if this fails, and then they will come down here and deal him more damage. He is doing good job microing with his Hellion, but I don't think he was ready for this, is the thing. The thing is that he couldn't expand when I expanded. And that's how I won. Anyway, the game is over. My Zerglings just let loose among his base, and that is GG. This was a really fun game, and I think that this was a pretty good strategy in all honesty. You see, here's the thing, is that if you can keep this base alive, and this was good for a new player because he wasn't able to get a sizable army out early game. He walled himself in too much, he didn't have the SCV count early on, he didn't have the Marine count early on since he was building this starport and working on these Hellions. The problem was that he couldn't get an army out to deal with this in time, and he didn't even know about it in time, and that's because he was a sort of newbie-ish player, but then again, I am too. But the thing is that I'm trying to look for the words here. He could have destroyed this early on if he had worked on getting a nice early army, but he didn't see this coming, and that goes back to the newbie-ish player thing, like not looking at the creep as front of his base. He's not like looking all around. But when he finally spotted it, it was too late. I was working on a ton of Zerglings, and once I was able to hold off his initial attack, he was done. He couldn't deal with this. Like, the only way he could have dealt with this is if he put a tech lab on this and started building, what are they called again? No, like the flying guys that turn invisible. Wow, some great player I am. Actually, can't I just click on it? No, I can't. But basically, if he had built, like, some flying units that could attack, that would have been great, because I didn't build the Spore Crawler till like, later on. Until I actually saw the medevacs, because I thought that he would have flying units to deal with this, but sadly he didn't build any of the thingies. Some great Starcraft player I am. But it just goes back to the thing, like, he couldn't deal with this if I could hold off his initial attack, which I did. I built plenty of Zerglings to hold off his first attack, and that meant that I had won from there, because he couldn't expand. I had taken his expansion, and the only way out of his base was through here, unless he had actually done a drop with the medevacs. And even then, like, then what? What's he going to do? Attack my own base? Like, that is a good idea, but you still have the problem that this is on your front doorstep, and you need an army to deal with this, and you can't if you can't expand, because since I have his expansion, I'm taking, like, his income. Like, if I had expanded, like, up here, then he would have expanded here, and he would have matched my income. But basically, from me expanding down here, I'm still making the same amount of income that I would if I expand up here, but I'm stealing his, so he can't do this. The only risky thing about this strategy is that your army has to walk from here down all the way to here. I honestly think that this strategy would really only work with Protoss and Zerg, but especially Zerg, because the creep spreads into their base and causes a big problem with them. And if you can keep pushing them bit by bit, the creep can spawn so much into their base that eventually they can't build anything. So I stopped him from expanding, I got the economic advantage, and I spent the majority of it on mass Zerglings. Just up here, Zerglings, 24/7, constant stream. He couldn't deal with it. He didn't have the income to build enough Marines or anything, and he just couldn't deal with it. So, yeah, that was GG, and sadly for that game, I placed in bronze, which I think is fitting, looking at how many minerals I had at the end of the game. I really should have pushed the advantage further, like, in case he somehow held it off and went into late game. I should have worked on a third, gotten some more gas, etc. I did get a Hydralisk den, just in case things were about to move up to the late game, but I definitely do need to work on my play a bit, but I am rank 6 in bronze. This guy was rank 13. I do intend to move up to silver, and yeah, I'm the little Zergling, and I'll probably show you the game that gets me to silver. Anyway, I will see you next time.